Hello, cats and kittens. We are live and we're back with another interview today. This will be my fourth one, yes. Today I'll be interviewing the beautiful Dani After Dark today, and we're going to have fun. We're going to go through her true crime stuff and some other stuff that'll leave you in suspense for. And we might have a few guests come up here and say hello. So stay tuned for that. And now let's say hello to Dani After Dark.
Hi, James. And to
Hello.
everybody who is new to my channel, just wanted to give my tagline: we don't live in darkness, darkness lives in us.
That's correct. I love it.
Thanks for
And
having
I
me.
got
Love it. I love it.
so we're not going to start just yet. We're going to wait till some more people get in here, and then we'll have a chit chat. I just hope everybody comes back.
Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty, but yeah, people will find their way in and yeah, it'll be fun.
Because on the YouTube side, I deleted the actual YouTube thing on YouTube by mistake. Hey Bob. That's why we had to refresh it and start again. Well, everything will be good. Now I gotta tell Jen we're back. I gotta send her the new link. Okay, let's. Whoops, no, that's the StreamYard side. No, I'm on the right side. Okay, all right. Here's YouTube. Oh, there's Jen. Okay, Jen's here. Okay, good. We're all good. Hey, Mason.
Mason,
Hello,
long
Mr.
time no
Beckham. Hey,
see.
Dave. Dave, you want to be backstage in case I have to bring people up, and you can help with the links and all. Um, Come and join up. And before we start the actual interview, Dave, come up and meet Danielle. He's my co-host, so he can just pop up on his own.
I know who he is.
Dogs, behave yourself.
Oh, never.
She knows who I am. Hello.
Hi,
Hey, Dave, how
Dave.
you doing?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, we had a little technical difficulties. I accidentally deleted it off the YouTube side for the original thing. So all we have to do is Danielle's gonna send me the thumbnail for what I had from before, and we'll fix it later. So just a little bit of an issue, but everything seems to be okay.
Very good. Very good. So I'll just be hanging out back here. I got some things I'm doing this morning, so I'll be here but not have the camera on for a little bit.
No problem.
So sometimes it's
It's nice to
third
have
person
you here,
kind of distracting. So I'll let you guys get to it.
and keep an eye on Fred Dobbs because he's here.
All right, I will. I will. He's
And
got.
if he gets, I'm gonna say it out loud. If he gets a little stupid, don't time him out. Block him.
Just block him. Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I
Got me.
want. All right, and keep all
All
the
right.
trolls out, and let's hope this goes well.
All right. Sounds good.
All
Thank
right,
you,
so
Dave.
we're gonna get
You're welcome.
started now.
All right.
All right, you ready, Dani?
I'm ready.
All right, let me have a sip of water.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm
Mm,
excited. Well,
me too,
Mason,
me
thank you for
too.
joining on your lunch. Good to see you, hun.
He's right there.
Yeah. Oh, I hope Mimi's gonna be here. You know the Mimi I'm talking about.
The other Mimi, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, first question is, what year were you born, and where in this wonderful world were you born?
I was born in 1984 and I live in Massachusetts, so right near Boston.
And um, how old? What when you were young? What was your first thing that you got interested in?
First thing true crime related or just first thing in general?
First thing in general.
From as far back as I can remember, it would be dance. I started dancing, yeah, when I was 4 years old. So always been dance. And I still dance now. So
And what got you interested in dancing?
gosh, I don't remember specifically. I know my older cousin who I'm close with, she danced at the same studio. So I think just, my parents had signed me up there just because that was easy to do. And I was hooked ever since. My younger sister did it too for a couple of years, but she didn't really like it. So she went off and did other sports where I've been hooked on dance ever since I started dancing. So yeah, when I was
So
4.
wow, 4 years old, and you're still doing it. You stuck with it.
Yep.
A lot of kids get into these things and then they say, "Yeah, I'm bored with it now."
I never did anything else. I never did soccer, basketball, nothing,
Hi,
cheerleading,
Jordan.
nothing. Only ever done dance.
Well, but then, how old were you when you started getting into true crime? What was the first thing that said, "Oh, I wanna study this. I want to get into this"?
Oh gosh, I can't remember how old. I know I was really, really young. I grew up near Salem, Massachusetts, which is where the Salem witch trials occurred. And I was always interested in that. So I remember having my parents get me books, and back then there was VHS tapes. So got me that on the Salem witch trials. And I don't remember what age. I know I was 4 to 5 years old when Ted Bundy was executed. And I remember really being into getting hooked on that case because there was just so much to it. There was the crimes that he did, and then the public's reaction to it, and the people that would support him, even though he did all the heinous things he did. I found that just absolutely fascinating. So that's what really, that case really got me hooked into true crime.
Was he the one that killed just men and boys?
No, that was Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, the Milwaukee cannibal. He killed young men. But I mean, there are many other serial killers that targeted the male population. But no, Bundy killed only women.
Oh, so was Jeffrey Dahmer, was he gay or anything like that?
Jeffrey Dahmer, yes, he was open. Well, I say openly gay, but he would go to gay bathhouses and gay bars, and he would bring men back, and then he would drug them and kill them, dismember them, put them in vats of acid.
Hello, Scottish Ray.
And ended up eating them as well.
Oh my God. Wow.
But it's lunchtime where I am, so let's get off of that subject.
Yeah. True. So when did you first discover you were very interested in the Charles Manson trial?
Oh, switching gears to Charles Manson. I mean, Charles Manson is honestly a true crime staple. I mean, everybody in the world, no matter what continent you're from, knows of Charles Manson. He just goes down in infamy as being considered one of the most evil men on the planet. So everybody's kind of heard of him, but I don't think a lot of people have really deep dived into the case because it's so much more complex. But I mean, I took an interest in it just being into true crime and psychology in general. And then when the pandemic hit and, I was able to meet people through the pandemic on YouTube, like you, we connected that way several years ago. And I was able to meet Paul and Beckham, and we kind of really deep dived into the Manson case. And yeah, the rest is history with that. So yeah.
So Mason, now that you're here, if you're on lunch break, do you have anything you want to ask Danielle while you're here? You have any questions for her?
Come on, Mason, don't be shy.
Well, we'll wait on that one, but I'm sure he'll say something. What other famous? Is there any other famous crimes that are as huge as Charles Manson?
As huge as Charles Manson. I feel like in the true crime world, Charles Manson's like the one. But, there's the cases that people more commonly know, like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez, Ed Kemper, those kind of more common household names, if you will. And I hate to say it like that, but it's just kind of the way it is. But There are so many more that, come to Dani After Dark on my channel and you'll see them. But
Oh, Michael S.
with true crime kind of exploding, people get the opportunity, if you're into true crime, to hear about more lesser known cases that are just as horrific, if not sometimes more horrific than the more household names that we know of when we think of true crime. So there's just so many avenues to get that, whether it's podcasts or documentaries. I know Netflix does a lot, but I'm very against Netflix documentaries with true crime. But yeah, there's so many. And there's a comment here, from the Astro Zombie. Yeah, the Delphi murders. I actually talked about it last night. Michael Allen confessed. He confessed on the phone to his wife that he's the one that killed them.
Wow. And Bob Phillips says the big famous one here where I am was the Alphabet Killer.
See, that's a lesser known case. I've heard of that case, but it's a lesser known one. I feel like not everybody would know that. And likewise, there are cases in my area that, are big in New England, but then you go outside of that bracket and no one's heard about it. So it's just interesting the way that the media will push some cases, especially now, and not necessarily others.
Mr. Beckham has a question for you.
What age demographics coincide with what famous cases? I think he needs to be a little more specific because I'm not sure what he's referencing.
Jorgen had a good one for you up here. Let's see.
I like how Dani's an open dictionary on true crime, and me, who also like true crime, have a hard time remembering many Swedish criminals' names. See, Jorgen can probably name off like 10 Swedish true crime criminals, and I probably wouldn't know any of them. Just might not make its way over here in the news.
Oh, Jen has one.
Wow.
Can you tell us a bit about Richard Ramirez?
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Yeah. So I did an interview on my channel with Nicholas Schreck, who was actually a friend of Richard Ramirez. So if you guys missed that interview I did on my channel, definitely check it out because he gives such an inside perspective into Richard Ramirez behind the scenes that not a lot of people would know. So definitely check that out. But oh gosh, in the briefest of nutshells, he really terrorized California for quite a while and would break in and sexually assault and ended up murdering quite a few women. And there's a lot of the field of mental health comes into big time play with him in his case. I'm just giving the briefest of nutshells here. We could go on for like an hour and a half, but he was eventually caught. And when the public was so outraged by what he did that he was recognized on the street and people started to beat him and he had to beg the police for help.
Wow.
And he ended up dying in prison before he was executed.
Hi, Abby. Oh, Mr. Beckham's more specific now.
For example, the Idaho killer case currently hits the current younger generation. Oh, okay. I get what he's saying. Kind of. So to answer that question, Beckham, if I'm understanding it correctly, I think with Brian Koberger, with the Idaho murders for the 4 college students, Brian Koberger's a bit younger. He targeted college age students, and the demographic and area time that we're in now with social media, I think it's blown up big time because when you target a college area or college age demographic, that's you're hitting young kids, you're hitting people in their 20s. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to take interest in that type of case. So I think that, and with social media now, it just pushes and pushes true crime out. So I think, the demographics now with true crime are very interesting because when I was young and into true crime, it wasn't a common thing. I mean, I was very outspoken that I was into true crime because, I majored in psychology. So I have a huge interest in the mind and all of that. So it wasn't uncommon for like people around me, adults, for if I'm like, I'm into this, they were just like, oh yeah, that's just Dani, that's just Danielle. But now everybody talks about it. Did you hear this on the news? Did you hear this? Did you read about this? It's so common now that I think everybody from every age demographic is absorbing true crime. And I think that's great. So I think that answers Beckham's question.
So there's two questions in here that you can see from Jimmy Nickel and Scottish Ray.
So Jimmy Nickel, do you know much about Fred West in the UK? Yes, Fred and Rosemary West. That is a horrific case. Anytime there's children involved, it's no murder is acceptable in any way, shape, or form. But when kids are affected and kids are targeted, it's interesting. But with that case, Rosemary was really the driving force, in my opinion, between that duo. And yeah, he still seemed devoted to her even behind bars, which was amazing. Scottish Ray, do you think he did the Idaho case himself? Brian Koberger, yes, I do. I don't think there was anybody else involved. I think he did it. I think a lot of the evidence has shown that he's the one responsible for it. I think we're going to learn a lot more as the trial comes out, because I don't think somebody just goes from 0 to 60, meaning I don't think someone just goes from being your normal, average, quirky citizen to now murdering 4 college co-eds. There's much more in between that I think we don't know. And I think we'll find out.
And Jorgen has a question for you.
Why do you think that true crime has become so huge, popular among many people around the world today? I think it's because a lot of, podcasts have made a huge difference in true crime. I mean, when I first started listening to true crime podcasts, there wasn't that many of them. And now there's hundreds of thousands of them. So they're readily accessible. Platforms like Netflix does a lot of true crime shows and documentaries. I'm very outspoken that I'm against Netflix true crime documentaries. I think from the ones I've seen, they twist a lot of details and just, they don't glamorize per se, but they twist so many facts that the cases are horrific enough, and they don't know. It doesn't need to happen. And I see Joe Marino, and I'm going to answer that question for you. And hi, Joe. Thank you for stopping by my channel last night, hon. That was awesome. So, for example, the big one. So when I review them on my channel, it's because I've gotten requests to do so. I did one, and I collabed with Mr. Beckham on the Jeffrey Dahmer series. And that's a case that I know pretty well. And when they added the scene of Jeffrey serving a sandwich to his neighbor to get her to eat it, implying that there was human remains in that sandwich, that never happened. It never happened. I was livid because Beckham was ahead of me watching it, and he messaged me. And he's like, "Oh my God, the sandwich." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, when he fed his," I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I had no idea what he was talking about, because that never happened in the case. And then when I got to that part in the series, I was blown away. And it's just, it really makes me mad, because the cases are horrific as is. You don't need to add these extra details that never happened. It's not needed. I get it. They're trying to get views, but I'm not a fan of that. I will say that, and just to give everybody, sorry, James, I don't mean to talk so much.
It's okay. It's all right.
So I did a collab on my channel recently with a girlfriend of mine, Liz. She made her YouTube debut. We did it on the Netflix series American Manhunt, the Boston bomber, the Boston Marathon bombing documentary. And I will say they did that. I wasn't planning on watching it, one, because it's Netflix, and two, because I'm from Boston. I lived that whole time when the Boston bombing happened, and they were completely true to the story. I was blown away. And there was just one part of the documentary I just wish they didn't make it up. They didn't make up a fact. that was my only thing. And I talk about that in the collab that we did on my channel, but because I do have some ties to people who are close to the Boston Marathon bombing. One of my close girlfriends went to high school and was friends with Jahar. And so talking with her about this case, you know, she showed me, you know, there's, you know, pictures of her and him from high school, and it, you know, she's very open. I asked her a lot of questions for this review I did on my channel, and she was, here's what you can say on YouTube, here's what I'd rather you not say. And it was completely eye-opening. And just to talk to her, to hear, you know, this was my friend of so many years, and now he's on the TV and he's being, you know, he bombed our city. And she's like, that's not the friend I had. And she watched the documentary. She watched it before I did, and she said it was very true to the story. So I will say that I give Netflix that one.
Now, going back to your childhood, like, did you understand a lot about the true crime when you're like 4 or 5 years old?
I didn't understand. That was before I started to go to school for psychology. So I didn't understand necessarily why people would make the choices that they do to harm other people. And I know you still, even nowadays, don't always get that answer, because you can't rationalize irrational thinking, but you can get close to it. One thing that always fascinated me when I was young, and just going back to the Ted Bundy murders, that kind of really drew me in as a kid, was how society reacted to crimes on a local level, on a national level. It just, how people react, that was always fascinating to me. And that has always still stuck with me even today. And, you know, when Netflix came out with the Ted Bundy, oh gosh, I'm blanking the name of it, but it was the movie with Zac Efron. And that Zac Efron did a really great job. And all of a sudden there was this resurgence of people who were too young or either weren't alive yet when Ted Bundy was executed. And all these platforms were saying, like, you know, Ted Bundy, so good looking and this, and I'm like, what is happening? We know what he did. Why are people, this is 30 years later or 20 years, why are people still reacting like this? And I find that fascinating, why people react the way they do to true crime.
And when you're in high school, did you study about this a lot on your own, or did you take classes in school that taught you about this?
High school didn't really give a lot of chances for that. I did take psychology courses in high school, which, fun fact, I'm actually still quite close with my high school psychology teacher. Me and him are good friends, and yeah, meet up for lunch every few months to catch up. He really was instrumental, and I credit him so much in really pushing my way of thinking and my way of writing, and just being like, the interest that I had was okay, because again, back then it wasn't cool, or it was weird to be so openly interested in true crime, and I really was. So he was really instrumental in pushing me to that, and then going to college and then being able to take classes that really specialized in what I was wanting, you know, abnormal psychology, and then taking other psychology classes and mixing them with criminal justice classes. It was, that really gave the push of what I needed and what I was really looking for to kind of specialize in.
Before you had the job that you have now, did you ever think you wanted to be a psychologist?
A psychologist? No, I actually really wanted to teach. I wanted to teach psychology. I wanted to be a professor, but
Oh, wow.
yeah, but there's so much research involved in that. Like, you don't just get a job as a college professor. You're really hired on a research-based level, and research isn't, it's not my passion. I know that's what has to be your passion. So I didn't go into it for that, but yeah, I think that's kind of the best way to answer. I wanted to be a college professor. if I could go back in time, I would have loved to. I've had so many people be like, why didn't you try to go in the FBI? And I don't know. I kind of wish in hindsight I did that route, but.
Scottish Ray thought you were a singer. But this is even more cool.
Oh my God,
It's
that
a little
is
different. I'm going out of my comfort zone here today, but this is fun. And I
that's
love that
funny.
everybody's getting in here with the questions because I'm making my interviews are more interactive. I want my viewers to ask questions as well as myself. And I don't mind if they keep asking questions to you, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, this is your channel, and
I
we're
want
just
them to be interactive with you. This is what I like.
awesome.
So, do you think all these killers were born that way, or do they just go psycho later on?
Oh, the whole nature versus nurture theory.
Ooh,
I think you can get 10 people in a room and have 10 different answers on that. I don't think this is me personally. I don't think people are born to do that. I think they might have some mental illness that, given the right social situation or right triggers in life, would then propel them to that next step to actually commit a crime. And like I said, statistically speaking, people just don't go from 0 to 60. They don't just wake up one day and then murder somebody like the Idaho college murders right now. There's more in between that we're going to find out. Trust me on that. But there's all these steps along the way of, committing robbery, peeping Tom, sexual assault. There's all these things that lead up to it. And I think a lot of time too, what gets really frustrating when I cover a lot of the cases I do on my channel is we'll see somebody was arrested for a heinous crime. And then, they're supposed to serve 9 years, but they're out in a year. And then they're right back to doing what they're doing. And then they just get away with it and away with it and away with it. And then all of a sudden, a large scale murder happens and society's like, how did this happen? And then we look back and it's like, well, they never really served the time they were supposed to for all these other crimes. So they were able to get away with things time and time again. So that's very frustrating.
I can imagine it would be. There's one crime I remember, I think it happened in the 90s or 80s, I'm not really sure, where 2 sons killed their mother, I think.
Yeah, the Menendez brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yep. I did
Can
cover
you,
that on my channel too. That was a 3-parter.
oh, yeah? Can you give us the Cliff Notes on that one?
Oh gosh, that was a while ago I did that. So Lyle and Eric Menendez, there's a lot of theories as to why they killed their parents. Kitty and I'm blanking the father's name right now. Totally blanking the father's name right now, but there's, they had said that they were assaulted as kids, one of them saying that he was sexually assaulted by his father. And, now it's interesting because so many years later, recently, one of the members of the boy band Menudo came forward and said he was sexually assaulted by Mr. Menendez, which is kind of lends maybe a little bit of credibility to the Menendez claims of being assaulted. But then there's a whole nother camp of that they killed their parents for the money because they inherited quite a bit of money very quickly and then was spending it at a rapid rate. And that's what really alerted the police. And one of the brothers broke down and eventually confessed actually to the therapist. And then they tried to say to the therapist, like they tried to threaten the therapist that it was just wild. It was wild, that case.
There's one case I'm very interested in, which I should have put the movie right beside me. So I'm going to get up for 1 second. This is the first time during an interview I'm actually going to get up because this might interest you.
I'll hold down the fort. Yes, Astro Zombie. Yes, they are on an NBA card. Yeah. So that card that really, really wouldn't have much value is now It's an you can get it on eBay, but it's a little pricey. Joe Marino called me out saying that, yeah, when I referenced the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, that's not a series. He said that's not a documentary per se. You're right. That was a series, but other documentaries, they do twist some things, and it's I don't know, it really bothers me.
They add stuff for dramatic effect, and
I know creative liberties. I get it. I just, if I was watching for entertainment, they're absolutely entertaining, but I watch it from a different perspective, I guess. So I get a little bit more.
So I'm going to make myself big, and I'm going to show you this.
Yes.
Now, this is a true story, and it's this happened in the 1950s. Heavenly Creatures. This is directed by what's his face there, Peter Jackson, the one that did Lord of the Rings and Get Back and all that stuff. And this is about the two girls that lived in a fantasy world. From a secret world no one could see came a crime no one could believe. Starring Academy Award winner Kate Winslet in her first lead role, Heavenly Creatures is a highly acclaimed true life story of the shocking crime that stunned a nation. When circumstances bring together two bright and highly imaginative teenage schoolgirls, they quickly form an unwavering bond, creating a fantasy world that only they can share. But soon their parents, disturbed by the intensity of the friendship, threaten to keep them apart. In retaliation, the girls vow to stay together, devising a secret plan that leads to shocking consequences. With captivating performances and startlingly original visual effects, Heavenly Creatures is a gripping entertainment you won't soon forget. And when it gets to the murder at the end, you're going to sit there in shock.
Interesting. When you were reading that, it reminded me of the case of the Slender Man in when two young girls tried to kill one of their other friends because
I heard about that case. Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of that when you were reading that.
But I'll try to find some little short documentaries on the true thing of this, and I'll send it to you on Facebook or Instagram.
Perfect.
Because I'd like you to study this one, because I'm interested in this case for some reason. I'm intrigued by this, but the ending of this movie will shock you. You'll sit there, you'll be in tears, you'll be like, you won't be expecting, and the music they play for the murder scene is just haunting. It's shocking. It's the humming chorus from Madame Butterfly.
Okay. Yeah, send it my way.
Well, I'm not going to send you the murder scene from the movie, but if you want to see the movie. But anyway, So Jorgen's got a question for you.
One thing I find interesting with true crime is to find out how the criminals' lives have changed after their punishments, if they turn their lives around and so in regrets their past. Yeah, that's interesting. I think it depends. There are some, every case is different. There are some that just kind of, I say, go down swinging and have absolutely no remorse. And then there are quite a few, and I think I see it a bit more when studying cases of people who are on death row when they find religion. And I know that's a whole controversial topic in itself, is whether that's genuine or not. But yeah, I don't know, our society. Well, I know, Jorgen, you don't live in the United States. And James, you don't either. So your criminal justice systems are both very different than ours. In the United States, ours kind of has this idea of reform. And we talk about this all the time over on the Paul Cass Manson Saga discussion panel. If we're saying our system's trying to reform, do we really mean that? Because some of the sentences and, not letting people out if they, for good behavior, it's a whole complex issue. But to say whether their lives have truly changed or not after their punishments, I think only time tells. Only time tells on that. I don't know.
Has any of these murderers ever been reformed and got out and were good in society afterwards? Or
I'm sure there has. I can't think of anybody offhand, to be honest. I think I'm more so on the radar of those who are released that I don't think should have been. Like Carla Homolka, that's a Canada case. You know that one, James? Paul
Oh,
Bernardo?
I know that one. That's a big
Yeah.
famous one.
Yeah, she got the deal of a lifetime and she's out. And now she's a mother to several kids, which is, and there's Facebook groups like tracking Carla Homolka, which people want to know her whereabouts and everything, which is wild. But I can't think of anybody offhand, honestly. Not to say that that hasn't happened, that has gone out and made a difference and changed things around. Not that I can think of.
Yeah, but I think he manipulated her into doing the crimes with him.
Mm.
That's what I think. And the O.J. Simpson case. Did he do it or did he not do it? Did he kill his daughter and his wife?
Oh, not his daughter. His wife and the gentleman who dropped off her glasses that night from the restaurant. There's many theories on that. I know me and Beckham have talked about this quite a bit, whether I think he did.
Because I remember the car chase on TV.
The white Bronco.
Yeah, I remember that chase with the cops and everything.
Yep. Yeah, I think he did.
Hey, Star Trekker.
And then James, he came out with a book that said, I think the book is called like If I Did It. It's like, why would you do that?
Does that have guilty written all over his face right there if he wrote that book?
No kidding. I actually, it's in my Amazon card. I'm not going to lie. I want to buy the book.
Then go for it.
Like a trucker. OJ was framed.
If I can get there.
Seeing that you were in Mass, what are your thoughts on Lizzie Borden? I've seen some videos saying she committed the murders.
I miss you.
She was set up. Oh, hi, miss you. Yes, I've actually been to the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River. And when you go and you get the tour, they show you in a lot of information and you get to see a lot of stuff in person that the media doesn't really show you. And she was actually released and she was let go and they determined she did not do the murder and she got to live out the rest of her life into her old age in Fall River, in a different area of Fall River. And she is buried in Fall River as well. So did she do it? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think she was an easy scapegoat. But if you ever come to Massachusetts, do the tour of the home. And you can actually stay overnight there in the rooms where the murders occurred.
Ooh. What's that Scottish race or James? Can she sing just asking her to spare time?
Scottish Ray is convinced that I'm here to sing. I am not here to sing. No.
He's just thinking that you're going to sing some Whitney Houston songs.
No, I want James's channel to grow and to be successful. And I don't want to be the reason of me singing that it all of a sudden he has 0 subscribers.
Scottish Ray can be funny at times, but he's a good friend. Okay, Scott Dog. Let's see what Scott Dog has to say. Oops.
Do you think there is more true crime being committed today, or is the media just putting more of a spotlight on it now? That's a good question. Statistically speaking, I don't have an answer. I think now with just like you said, with media coverage, we hear about it all the time, nonstop in real time. So I don't know. I would, and I feel like people are triggered a lot more now than maybe back then. I tend to lean towards my opinion that there is more crimes being committed now than there were back then. Because back then it was, when something happened, it was big news, but for like a smaller population, because it didn't necessarily hit nationwide, because just there wasn't a lot of opportunity for that. So I tend to lean with there is more being committed today, which means with technology, more of a chance to get caught.
That's true. Well, there's a lot of stuff we're going to catch up on later, but we're going to stick with the true crime for a little longer because this is interesting, and I like how this is going with my viewers. They seem to be interactive with you and asking you questions. They're all intrigued, so I'm kind of liking this true crime stuff. So we're going to stick with this for a while. Then we'll get into the cats and everything, and more of your dance troupe later on, and all the things you're involved with. But we're going to stick with this now. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Um, was there a lot of true crimes done like in the medieval days, like kings and queens days, like Anne Boleyn days and all that?
There were. My aunt actually keeps recommending a case for me to cover from, I think it was from like the 1800s, I want to say. Those cases they're tricky because what you tend to see are more people in power committing the crimes and people not wanting to go against them. There's oh gosh, I'm totally blanking the name. She would like bathe in the blood of her victims because she felt it would like make her keep her youthful. I'm totally blanking her name, but there were crimes back then, but not as flooded number wise as what you see now.
Like Henry VIII, would you actually call him a murderer?
Henry VIII. Okay, and that's the thing too, the word murderer, we could argue that term because it's interesting because if someone commits one murder, okay, they're a murderer. If they commit several hundred murders, they're still a murderer, but it's a different level. It's just much more complex. Would I consider him? Yeah, if he took the life, I say if you take the life of one, then yes, you are.
Well, yeah, he's beheaded most of his wives.
Yes. I actually saw the play. Oh God, what was it called? It came to Boston based on his wives. Six. I saw the play Six. That was it. That was good. Elizabeth Bathory. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Astro Zombie.
Yeah. So, what would you say is your most interesting true crime that really intrigued you when you were young?
So we touched a bit upon that earlier with Ted Bundy. That really kind of grabbed my interest. Not so much from the crimes he committed, but more so from how society reacted to that. In regards to maybe a crime about the actual person's actions,
Hi, Lizzie.
I would say, and this is kind of jumping gears a little bit, it's just the first thing I can think of off the top of my head is Jonestown, and that the whole cult with Jonestown, with several hundred people that drank the Kool-Aid and lost their lives, and that's a whole thing. But he is somebody that is Jim Jones, a very complex person, and to kind of look into him and his upbringing and how he got to where he was at Jonestown is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
Do you know this person here, Dani? Joanne?
Joanne Watson, Dani After Dark rocks. Thank you. I'm oh gosh.
I'm not sure I know who this person is because I've never seen them before.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Welcome in. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you so much.
I'm away, Sir James. Take care. Great interview. All right, I'll see you, Scottish Ray.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, Scottish Ray, Elsie's going live at 6 p.m. UK time, so I might be a little late there because I don't know how long this is going to be, but I'm having fun with the interview so far, so this is good. Well, what's Scott Dog saying here? Fun fact, the song Ballad for TV Violence by Cheap Trick is about Richard Speck. It's a great rocking tune, too. Okay? Oh, I didn't know that, Scott Dog.
Yeah, I covered that case on my channel too. Richard Speck killing the nurses. Yeah.
Mm. Ooh. Dani is someone you respect whose name
No,
starts with
he's being
Mr.
fresh. Can you block Beckham? Just kidding. He wants me to say who is someone I respect and name him.
I remember you, Mr. Jinx.
Mr. Jinx, hi.
Mr. Jinx, let me give you a wrench.
Mr. Jinx is good people.
Yeah, I've seen him before. Not everybody's getting a wrench. Only the people I really do know are getting one.
Your channel, your rules.
Yep.
So how did Beckham get one exactly?
Because I gave him one. Because he's a Star Trek nerd and Star Wars nerd. That's why.
Oh, I should have known.
And he likes hanging with me and Dave and the crew.
Yes, he does.
What are you going to do about it? So, Mr. Jinx, I have a question for you. I know it's Dani's interview, but how did you get into true crime with Dani? How did you guys meet up? Or if Dani wants to tell me the story.
You know, he reminds me of just like a stray dog or a stray cat. You feed him once and he won't go away. So I think that's what happened. Just kidding. I honestly can't remember. It's like I feel like I've known Mr. Jinx for so long now. I can't remember. I know it was through Manson Saga discussion panel, but I can't remember offhand like the first time meeting Jinx.
Ah.
Oh, hi,
Well,
Linda.
Wow. A lot of people I haven't seen before here. This is cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I was plugging the interview last night on my True Crime
Hello,
and Chill
Linda.
Live.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah. COVID. I've been following true crime since I was a kid. I'm 64. Wow, that's cool. Yeah. Have you ever remember when I first met you? And I asked you about JFK and all that. Have you ever really got back into studying that? Because we don't really know who the killer is, do we? Do we still know? Is it still a mystery? Because they say it was Lee Harvey Oswald, but they think there might have been another shooter.
There's the short answer. I don't have an answer for that. There's some really good books. Me and Paul was the one that recommended it to me. Paul over from the Paulcast. Mark Shaw's the author, and he came out with it was 3, and then he just put out the 4th one in November. The 4th one isn't. You can skip that one, but it really deep dives into the JFK assassination, in the tie to Marilyn Monroe and Dorothy Kilgallen. And they're so well written, and it gives a different kind of perspective as to how those crimes were connected. Hi, Robin. But as to Joanne Watson, I follow her on Instagram and also Paulcast. Oh, thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's one of those. Honestly, James, I feel like the JFK case is one of those things that some people feel like here's who did the crime for me, and I'm moving on. And some think we'll never have the answer. I don't know. That is really out of my expertise. I don't know.
Like for you're intrigued with Ted Bundy. I'm intrigued with the JFK thing.
I have family in Texas in the Dallas area, and I have been several times and gone to like the Grassy Knoll area, and where you can see where there's an X in the street where the bullet hit JFK. So that's interesting. So I have been to those areas.
Well, Bob, it was nice having you here, and I will see you on my Indiana Jones thing tomorrow.
Bye, Bob.
Have a good one. He's going off to work on his renovations now.
Oh, gotcha.
Where am I located, Linda? I'm in New Brunswick, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm meeting a lot of nice people in here today. This is fun. Gotta run. Enjoy the shows for James. See you next time. God bless everyone. See you later, Michael. I guess you're going over to Elsie's. Tell Elsie happy birthday from me, and I might be a little late. I might miss it today, so I might have to watch the replay. Yeah. Wow, everybody's so nice in
Hi,
here.
Michael.
All your friends are so cool. JFK was my first conscious memory. I remember the horses pulling his casket. Oh. I remember his son when he was small and he was like this.
Oh, I know. That image is just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, you lived. I lived in Toronto in 1980. Oh, that's cool, Linda. Happy Canada Day. I'm in Windsor, Ontario. Oh, that's cool, Mr. Jinx. Well, we got some Canucks in here. That's nice.
Yes.
Now, when you were young growing up, did you have any pets?
Yes, I grew up with dogs. We had Chihuahuas growing up.
Okay.
Yep. I grew up with, 3 dogs growing up. Yep.
And what else? What else? So you had a hatred for cats back then?
I did not like cats, which is, oh my God, anybody that meets me now would be like, no, you're not the same person. I didn't like cats. I did not. I had friends who had cats, and I don't know. I just was like, oh, dogs are so different. They're so, they're meant to, I hate to say meant to, but their goal is to please their human, right? And cats are just like, your purpose is to serve a cat. You know what I mean? It's very different. And I didn't care for cats, did not care for them. And then one day that all changed, and the rest is history.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting something on Instagram.
Nope, that's all right. Oh, bye, Kevin. Thank you for stopping in.
Bye, Kevin. Well, I know where most of these people are going. What's Jorgen got here?
What do you think of the Electro RSKYND who does songs about famous murders? Columbine, about that murder is amazing. I don't think I know that song offhand. I'm not a fan of songs that are written about murders or shootings. What's this? I'm not going to sing because I don't sing. What's that? It's the song, all the other kids with the what's the lyrics? With the pump up kicks, you better run, 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 outrun my gun.
I don't think I know that one.
Yeah, I'm blanking the artist and I'm blanking the song. That song was so pumped up kicks. Thank you, Hop Frog. That song was so popular when it came out, and I just remember, like, I would turn the station off. I'm like, do people not realize what this song is about? Or the song Foster the People. Thank you guys so much. I can't believe I forgot that. Or what band is it? The song about I Hate Mondays. That's about a school shooting too, or someone going in. Yeah, was a school shooting or someone going to shoot up their place of work? I forget because I don't listen to those songs. I hear it once and I'm like,
Hi,
nope.
Lisa.
Hi. Yeah, I'm very against those types of songs. Very against them.
I just thought I Don't Like Mondays was just about people that hate Mondays in general.
Mm-mm.
Now I know the true story about it. I didn't know that before.
Polly Klaus. Yep. Thank you. Yep. It's just like, stop and listen to the lyrics. Like, these are horrific and people are just playing it at clubs, and I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway.
Yeah. So tell us how you did fall in love with cats.
Oh gosh, yes. It's so funny, James, because so I've been doing this will answer your question too, but my channel now, I've been doing more of a live format, and I do a weekly case, and then I do a true crime and chill once a week. And I don't think a single person is there for me to talk about current cases. Everybody's there for the cats. Like, people will be like, "Hi, Dani, where are the cats?" Because I've decided on those nights to keep the door open to let the cats kind of come in and out. And everybody gets so excited to see the cats. But yeah, when I, it was 10 years ago, because my babies now, they just turned 10. They were kittens. They were 8 weeks old when we got them. We adopted 2 8-week-old kittens from a shelter, and
Hey, Kate.
because dogs are big commitments, and when you commute for work and all that, dogs they're not self-sufficient. As you know, James, at being a dog person, you every so many hours they have to be let out, and you can't. It just wasn't possible to own a dog at that time. And looking into doggy daycare, Boston is very expensive. And I'm like, that's more expensive than rent, or more expensive than a mortgage to go through doggy daycare. So one of my close girlfriends said, "Well, what about cats?" And I'm like, "I don't like cats. I don't like cats." And she's like, "You haven't met the right one. I volunteer and she volunteered at the same shelter, James. So she was like, "Come check it out," so we did, and I fell in love with Cosmo, and I'm like, "That's my kitten. That's my cat." And I started volunteering there shortly after. And yeah, now there's 6 cats here. The last 2 were kittens that were supposed to be here on a foster basis for 1 week. 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and then it was like, we're keeping them. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm still at James, as you know. I'm very much involved in the shelter that they got adopted from. I do adoptions there. I do social media. I help with social media. I prepare all the adoption folders and all the adoption contracts for people who are adopting cats. I'm there every week. I do what's called FCS, Feed, Clean, Socialize, with the cats. And I've been doing that shift since 2014. And it's my favorite night of the week. It's my favorite night of the week.
And how did you get involved with PALS?
So that's where we adopted from. And my good friend, my close friend at the time, volunteered there. And yeah, after adopting the first 2 kittens.
Hey, Christina.
Hey, KK. You want to support local shelters, local nonprofits, and, we would make donations, and, cleaning supplies and food to shelters goes a huge way. And so, we'd make donations, and then they were looking for volunteers, and I thought, I can do that. And then, yeah, I've been there for so long. It's then other opportunities would present itself of, "Hey, we're looking for adoption counselors." I'm like, I can do that. And then it's, "Hey, we're looking for help with the fundraising stuff." I'm like, I can do that too. And just, it's snowballed, and I'm just very, very involved there. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because they do amazing work. And yeah, feline rescue is my thing now. I
remember one night I had a dream that you took me to PALS, and I was playing with all the cats. I was holding the kittens and singing to them, and all the people were coming in to adopt, and I was showing them all the cats, what they like to do and everything. I was explaining what their name was, and I said, "Just let the cats come to you." And at the end of the night, you all surprised me and gave me a kitten that I was attached to take home.
That is such a James dream.
It was a cute one, but I was hoping it would have been Audrey.
Audrey, yeah. So for those who don't know what that means, so one of every week when I do the Feed, Clean, Play shift, I take pictures of the cats and kittens that are available for adoption, and I post them. And James is amazing, and comments on every single photo. So we've been friends on Facebook now for a while, so you get to see every week the cats that are there. And there was a black and white tuxedo named Audrey that James totally grabbed James's heart. And the fun thing is, one of my dance friends actually adopted her. So yeah, not only do I do the feline rescue, but like, there are so many friends now that because I keep posting on Facebook, they'll message me and, hey, I'm looking to, adopt a cat, or, my family's looking to adopt a cat, and you always post every week. So we want to go to pals and support, which is amazing. And I love that, because then when people I know go through the adoption process and then adopt a pal's cat, they post it on social media, and then I get to still see them. So yeah, one of my dance friends adopted Audrey. So I still, yeah, she does a lot of amazing posts and pictures and videos of Audrey. So like if there's like an awesome picture, I'll like send it to James. I'm like, oh, look at Audrey now.
I always say, oh, my baby Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a different name now, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. Her name's Lexi.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
to me, she'll always be Audrey, no
I
matter what.
know.
Oh, my mom's here. Hello, Mom.
Hi, Patricia. I didn't know your mom was on YouTube now, James.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
that's
she doesn't.
awesome.
She doesn't have a channel per se. Well, I don't know how she got a channel, because she never made one. But now she seems to have one, so I made her a mod, and now she's part of my crew.
That's amazing.
And Miss U wants her to do her own channel and make her own videos, but I don't think my mom will be doing that anytime soon. So, Mom, do you have a question for Dani about her true crime or the cats or anything in general? You can ask her a question if you want, Mom, because we're interactive in here. Kate, are you still here? Because now we're going to get to the music question of the day. What music are you into, Dani? Besides the monk, we'll get to the monkeys soon. But
besides the monkey, is there any other music besides the monkeys? Oh God, I'm into honestly a little bit of everything. It just depends on like my mood, to be honest. Some days, I'll be listening to, like take it back to the 90s or 80s pop or 80s heavy metal, like late 60s kind of hippie kind of vibes music. I'm into everything. Like I'm really into everything. Like if you went through my playlist on my phone, you would be like, how is this one person? This makes no sense. Especially when it's on like shuffle, like the song. Yeah, there's a bit of everything.
now, how did you fall in love with the monkeys?
Oh God, the Monkees. So for people that don't know, the Monkees have always been my favorite band of all time. I have a lot of tattoos, but one of the thigh pieces that I have is it's kind of like a hippie themed tattoo, and it has Daydream Believer written in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, oh my God, that's like honestly one of my favorite tattoos I've ever gotten. And so I grew up with the 80s revival because my grandmother at the time lived with us, and she would put it on TV. And, so I grew up with the Monkees. It was the revival, so it wasn't the, original, but that's how I grew up with it. And I always like right away was like, oh my God, Mickey Dolenz. Like I was obsessed with Mickey Dolenz. And Davy Jones was cute too, but Mickey Dolenz loved. And so I like being in middle school and high school, people would talk about the music they're listening to. I'm like, yeah, the Monkees, like, which is funny. And so I've seen a few years before COVID. So it was actually the week after Peter Tork died. I went to the Mike and Mickey concert show, and I saw them here in Massachusetts. And that was really emotional because it was, again, a week after Peter died, and they did a tribute to him. There was not a dry eye in the house. It was so emotional.
Wow.
And then recently, James, as you know, because I was messaging you like leading up to the concert. I'm like, oh my God, Mickey Dolenz.
I saw all the stuff. You were nerding out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Mickey Dolenz came to Massachusetts. He came to Beverly, Massachusetts to do because he's the only monkey left. And he happens to be my favorite one. And he was coming. So I bought a ticket and I bought a meet and greet pass. And I was just more excited about the meet and greet. I didn't realize that the seat I bought was literally front row. And Yeah, I just completely nerded out. I've been very open that my celebrity crush of all time is Mickey Dolenz. It just so happens that as I've grown up, he's grown up too. So he's 79 years old, but I don't care. I still see Mickey from the Monkees TV show. And when I met him, oh my, I remember James, remember I was messaging. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. He was the sweetest guy. And I said to him, I was like, you have been my first love. Like, I have loved you since I was a kid. I still love you now. Like, and he said I was sweet. But yeah, during the concert, I posted a video. It's like a 10-second video I took at the concert. He comes over as he's singing. And again, I'm in the front row and I scream and I point to him and I start screaming, I love you. And then he points back at me and I lose my shit flipping out.
She was wild. She was wild. She was going nuts. Can't take her anywhere.
I went by myself to the concert too. No one wanted to go with me, and I had a blast. I made friends. Like,
I would have gone with you.
Yeah, my girlfriends.
If I'd been in town, I would have gone with you. I love the Monkees.
Yes,
I would have enjoyed that too.
I sent them the video, and they were just like, "Oh my God, that is so you."
Knowing me and you, we probably would have got up and danced in front of the stage.
Everybody was standing. It was honestly one of the funnest concerts I've ever been to. It was so much fun. I was hoping after Mickey would point me out and be like, come backstage. You're the one I'm meant to be with. But that never happened. What can you do?
Hey, the main thing is, Dani, you got to meet the dude. So just be happy with that. We didn't go back for champagne, caviar, or any James Bond kind of stuff. So
I know. It's just funny, James. It's so funny because I think a lot of people like my age, like, if they say, who's your celebrity crush? People like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Bradley Cooper, Johnny Depp. And I've always been like, Mickey Dolenz.
I think most of the people here know who my celebrity crush is, and that's Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. I've known that. Yep.
Oh yeah,
she's stunning. Gorgeous. She's beautiful.
Definitely, she is. So, if you guys don't know, Wednesday nights when she's posting all the pictures of the cats, I get excited every night, every Wednesday for the cats. And like, is there new cats? Are they coming? When are they coming? When are you posting? I'm like a little kid, like at Christmas, excited to open my toys and stuff, when I see the cats. And I've got a storyline going. Dani got me doing this a year ago. She was showing me how to make little comments and little stories. And then I started doing it and it just took off. Like, I don't put the cats as cats. I kind of make them like they're human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't say they're cats, and I make up different characters for them, and I get little side plots going. So now she had this cat named Mo. So I was thinking of The Simpsons because Mo was the bartender. Hello, Mimi. And I kind of took that idea and made a bar, the Cat Club. And then it got crazy. People were diving off the roof into a hot tub with a shark in it. And it was just hilarious. And last year remember that ongoing storyline I have about it? All the cats are going after a giant mouse. Remember that?
Yes.
And I just have all these little storylines, and she just loves my some of the comments I do with the cats, or I make them interact with each other, like Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, I'm in jail again. Or is somebody looking at me behind? Is somebody behind me? That. What happened to Rocky? I haven't seen him in a while. Is he gone?
Rocky, he is at a a feline. So there's a feline hotel on the North Shore in Massachusetts, and he is there. And so he's still up for adoption, but he's there, and he is living his best life there. He's so much happier there because, until his right person comes along, it's so much more of an open space. He gets to be more interactive with other cats and other people. It's awesome. It's as opposed to in a shelter in a cage where, yeah, there's, several shifts a day coming in to socialize, but it's not the same.
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
if I lived in Boston, you know what? I would have adopted him. I really like him.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. And
I have a question for you, Kate. Are you still okay? Do you still want to come up and ask your question about the monkeys to Dani? Because you're welcome to. Just say the word, and Dave will put the link out for you. Because I know you want to ask her that because she had her question prepared for you. So if you want to come up, Kate, you're more than welcome to. And
yeah,
Jorgen, you'll be my
Kate,
Jorgen. You can also come up and ask a question to Dani on here if you like to.
Kate, yeah, at the Mickey show, he sang "Going Down." That was cool.
All right, 5 more minutes and she'll come up. All right, and Aunt Mimi, I'm just going to call you Mimi because she's your aunt. You're not my aunt, but
She's
you're.
everybody's aunt. You could call her. Beckham calls her Auntie Mimi.
Oh
Paul
yeah,
calls
all
her
right.
Auntie
I'll call her Aunt
Mimi.
Mimi too. So you're my aunt now too. And Aunt Mimi, if you want to come up and ask Dani a question, you're more than welcome to as well. Because I'd love to have you on my panel anyway. Just I'd love to have you on my panel anyway. Just because I love everybody here. Everybody's so cool. I just wish Paul Cass could have been here.
Well, it's the weekend, and he's a dad, so he's busy with his kid.
Oh, I saw a story on his Instagram where he's going out for a hike with Bunga.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. I'm sure he is. Yeah, his puppy's one now.
Wow. So his son came up with that name.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a
his
cool
son.
name.
Yeah, we'll call him Little Paul Cast, came up with the name Bunga, and it's so fitting.
Well, if everybody doesn't know, I'm a dog lover and a cat lover. I love both species. Because as everybody knows, I had my baby girl, my Sadie, my dog. But she was put down on December 20th because she couldn't walk anymore. But I sat on her bed and I had my sister's boyfriend put her in my arms and I cuddled her for the last time. And her heart was beating fast. She knew something was up.
Mm-hmm.
I still have her collar and I have her paw print. We didn't get the her ashes because it was too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's Jorgen. All right. I'll bring the Jorgen up. Hello. Whoops.
Now the party can start.
Yes.
Long time no seen, Dani.
Hi, Jorgen. Good to see you as always.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by your knowledge, Dani, because as I said in previous comment, I'm interested in true crime too, but I have a hard time when I'm watching a true crime about Swedish criminals and so on. I have a hard time remembering them. I remember the case regularly. I'm very interested in what I see, but then later on, a hard time remembering them. But you're like a database.
Oh gosh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, Jorgen.
Yeah. Jorgen's
I
a good
remember a
guy.
song by the Monkees that I actually heard when that actually came out in 2016. They should have been extremely dated and too old, and they shouldn't be that good. But I actually like that song. She Makes Me Laugh. I don't know why, but I think it was a really great Monkey song even for that age when it was very much modern.
Yeah. Yeah, they came out with a Christmas album a couple of years ago, and they were able to like pull vocals from Davey from years ago. But it's a good album. But yeah, you can
Yeah,
especially with like Mickey now, like he sounds very different. But
yeah, there was only one member left. I don't remember which one of them though.
It's Mickey. He's the only one left.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has a daughter, Amy.
I remember a lot of cases that I have seen on different kind of documentaries. Although I don't remember the name of it, but I remember the guy who started in a dating show and then turned out to murder his neighbor. I don't remember the name of the guy. It was also shown when the police were there and media was there interviewing. They interviewed him, and he looked very crying about, oh, he was a really so nice girl. I don't understand how someone can do that. And it turned out to be him that had done it. And he was famous for being on a TV show.
Rodney Alcala.
Pardon?
Rodney Alcala.
Yeah, that may be on.
Yeah, I covered that. Yeah. Yep, Linda. Perfect. Yep. Hi.
Hey,
Hi, Danny, so nice to meet you. James has told me a lot about you.
Yes, James has said a lot of good things about you as well. And he said that you're really into the monkeys. And I was like, oh my God, I love her already.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, the monkeys. Oh, man. Okay. Dork time. The monkeys. Okay, somebody's speaking my language. York is actually speaking my language. I'm like, I'm just kidding, York. I love you. But
It's the only monkey song I like, though.
yeah, right, yeah. But I grew up listening to the monkeys since I was like 7 years old. I'm 40 now, so about 7 years old. And they always seemed like they were friends of mine, because they constantly got in trouble. I never had a lot of friends when I was a kid because I was always bullied. So it was like, I always found the monkeys as friends because they get in trouble and yet they bail themselves out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's where I fell in love with the music. And although what I found interesting about the whole monkey thing was the fact that they were supposed to be an absolutely pretend band. But that was in the cards. And I'm so glad they turned out to be real because they brought so much joy to millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got to see, forgive me, I'm recovering from a cold. It's okay. I'm on new medicine now. It's working. It just takes forever. But I saw the monkeys with Mickey Dolenz, the late Davy Jones, and the late Peter Tork live out of Stampede back in 2000.
Oh, how was that?
The best time of my life. My dad was there for moral support, he says. And I'm like, yeah, right. Moral support, my God. And it's true, James. You should. I told him because it was the anniversary on the 24th of our Stampede. It was the anniversary I went to the concert, and oh yeah, I went there for moral support. I'm like, yeah, right. Anyway, and it was funny, but we went there, and such a great show. Such a great show. I mean, for one thing, I can tell you right now, Danny. One thing I remember is Peter Tork playing the banjo. I actually had no idea that the late Peter Tork was even a banjo player till that concert.
Oh.
If you haven't heard it, you should. I highly recommend the song. He does a cover of the song, "Your Love," like higher, higher. You know that song?
Yeah.
He does a cover of that song, and if you hear the banjo playing, that's him.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's him, and then Davy Jones. He blew my mind. I'm going to tell you a story. He blew my mind because other than performing Girl, which I adored, and who didn't? And, I mean, I can't help it, okay? It makes me feel like McLuhan in this world. I can't help it. It's true. If he was still alive, I'll tell him, thank you for making me feel included.
Aw.
I bet you like to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Because he seemed like I hear that both Peter and David were very kind-hearted people
Mm-hmm.
who enjoyed being with their fans and enjoyed helping their fans and talking to their fans and so forth. But anyway, I was going to say David's performance of Valerie, holy Moses, was that great. I remember just sitting there. I heard the guitar part, Valerie.
Yeah.
And I hear Lily David Jones step on stage and go, I mean, it's a game changer right there. I'm like, I was young, but I'm like, wow. It's like, oh my gosh, it was so magical for me. And he killed it. I mean, he just blew my mind with that performance. Every time I even hear Valerie, I'm transported back to that concert performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Mickey, I mean, I love him to death. And to this day, I still tell him I'm very proud of him for what he's doing because I know they made promise that I had never seen Nesmith live, and that's one of my big regrets. I never had an opportunity to see Nesmith live. But what I do know about Mike Nesmith is that he's a genius for writing. He's a genius lyricist.
Oh yeah.
Absolute genius. I'm like Papa Jean's Blues is one of my favorite songs. I'm like, and how did you write this song? Or like a couple others like Mary Mary. I'm like, again, how did you write that song? It's like I would love to sit down and interview him and just ask him a couple questions about a couple of songs that he's written, because I'm like, yeah, I really want to know the meaning behind this one. What inspired you to write that? And so I have a lot of respect for Nesmith. And the fun thing was, because I know when he and Doles were on tour, Nesmith was very surprised that people still loved him. And I'm like, why should you question that? Just because you didn't embrace it, there's still good people out there. Just because you didn't embrace it doesn't mean we stop loving you.
Right.
That's how strong the Monkees fan base is. They still are, it was like, and so, well, 3 died. Mickey, they all made promise before they died that whoever the last one is, they carry on. And that's Mickey. And of course, my thoughts and prayers go out to Mickey right now because he's recovering right now because he's been told to be on rest.
I know. We had to cancel a bunch of events.
Yeah, and that scared me a little bit. I'm like, no. It's like, hey, look, we'll be fine, okay? We'll be fine.
Yeah, he posted something like, I have to remember I'm 79, not 29.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of funny. I'm like, I know. It's like, it's kind of like Dave, he wants to go out there and do it. And it's just like, but you got to remember sometimes, your body will go, I don't know.
Yeah.
And but aside from the men, Mickey, in my opinion, is, the Monkees are my music heroes because they inspired me to pursue music journalism, chase my dream, which I'm still working on.
Nice. That's awesome.
One of the many bands. But anyway, enough babbling. I was just dorking out, so enough babbling. James is like, I know you are. He's my co-host on my show. I know you are. But my question for you is, when did you become a Monkees fan?
When did I become a Monkees fan? So we talked about this a little earlier when I'm not that much. You're 40. I'm 38. So I'm right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're roughly the same age. So growing up during the 80s revival, my grandmother at the time was living with us and she would watch it. So I would always hang out with her in her room, and the Monkees was on. So I grew up with them, but granted it was the second time of the Monkees coming around, because their show I think it was MTV, it got picked up on. Yeah,
MTV revived, and they did like an MTV special things here and there, like a marathon, and they hosted it. Yeah.
So that's how I grew up with them.
You got introduced at the right time. Oh my gosh, that was the best moment for anybody to get introduced or reintroduced to the Monkees was during that period. I really do.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize for you to say it again. I must have missed that one. I'm sorry.
Even at the concert, the Mickey concert that I went to in the beginning of May, there were people there that were just like I was one of the younger people there. There were still people younger than me, like teenage girls. And I'm like, that is awesome that these girls are so interested in this music, because how else would they, there was no more revival. So I'm like, how did they discover this? But people were like, how are you into this? And I was like, well, I grew up with them. It just happened to be during the 80s, but I grew up with them. So
I love that. Even the younger generation are still listening to them. I like that.
Yeah.
There's hope.
I know. I know. Their music is so, oh my gosh. Oh my God. James has already heard me talk about the concert like over and over and over.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
But just like the amount of, people who were up and dance. No one sat. Some people sat during the show, but for the most part, everybody was up and dancing, singing along, screaming. You wouldn't think we were there seeing a gentleman who was 79 years old singing songs back from the 60s. It was just another place in time. And it was honestly, I said to James, that was one of the funnest nights of my life.
I was the same way I was at the Stampede. My dad was the only quiet one, obviously, but poke fun. I poke so much fun at him for that, and he knows it. He gets annoyed when I do that, but like whoops. But someone has to,
Yeah.
And I'm the eldest daughter, someone has to, and it's just yeah. A lot of people were singing. A lot of people are going straight up. I'm not making this up. People were going. There are some elder ladies singing. No, I'm in a box seat, so it was a couple seats behind me. They were going like just going cooing like it was like the Beatles at Davy Jones. I'm like, up, here we go. It was funny. I was like, oh my god, so handsome. Like, up, here we go. And of course, I'm not going. He is a handsome fellow. He always has been a handsome fellow, I would think. But of course, I'm well behaved. But there's these other women going, oh god. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go.
Now that I think about it, I actually have this right here. So I framed it. So when I bought
Here,
the
let me make it
VIP
big.
meet and greet, it came with
no way.
with an autograph. So I framed it.
That is fabulous. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Yeah, that's cool. What was he like?
He was so nice. Okay, James, you can take me out from being big.
Yeah.
He was
There
so
we go.
nice. He was just like, hey, what's your name? Are you from here? Like you had just a little brief conversation with him, and then he would kind of go on to the next person. And after I met him, I jumped back at the end of the line because I wanted more time with him. And he's like, you again. I'm like, you remembered me. But yeah, he was like, pictures and like, of course, I was like, in my pictures, James, you've seen the pictures. I was just like, can I put my hand on your chest? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I'm like, I have my hand on his chest.
Oh
like,
gosh.
I totally hammed it up. I love him. I love him. But he
Put
was
your
so
Facebook
nice.
in the private chat for Dani, and then you can see all the videos and the pictures on her Facebook page. And if you want to put your
Thank you.
Instagram in for her as well, go ahead.
Thank you.
How long how long did it take for you to wash that hand after you taken on the chest?
I haven't
No.
watched it
Hey, Cap.
since. I'm just kidding.
I bet you his wife was watching that one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I wasn't thinking this was going to turn into a panel, but I don't mind. Is this okay, Dani, with you?
This is your channel. I'm just here for the ride.
I just popped on because I'm a monkey's dork. Us monkey's dorks need
right,
other monkey's dorks. So
let me put the link out for you.
I'm just a monkey's fan. Well, I know there's monkey presence in this crowd. I gotta go see him. So I'm like,
are you on
I'm a
Instagram?
true crime dork.
me? Yeah, I am.
Okay, so my Instagram is the Dani After Dark. Friend me on Instagram, and
Yeah, I got you. Well, when I log off here pretty soon, I got you. I'll look you up.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think it's cool. I kind of like how you said that. You again?
Dani!
Oh God.
Oh, what? Oh God.
Hey, Dani.
Heard Jorgen.
Oh, you were talking about Jorgen. Oh, that's normal.
I jumped 5 feet up in my chair.
Hey, Beers.
Hey,
How
Hey,
you
Kat.
doing?
come up and see you. I ain't been on a panel with you in so freaking long.
I know. Oh my God. Well, you're off and doing amazing things on your end. So I didn't know you still had time for us little people.
Little
I'm doing amazing things, my butt. I just do hangout panels. It's you that does the amazing things with true crime stuff.
Mm.
I was thinking about one thing when it comes to true crime. As you I don't know if you heard about one of the most famous Swedish cases that is yet to be solved, in my opinion, the murder of our Prime Minister Olof Palme back in 1986, and he was shot on an open street in Stockholm when he and his wife were on their way home from the cinema. And for years, it was speculated if a drug addict named Christer Pettersson was the murderer. He was even sentenced to prison. The jury wasn't anonymous. It wasn't on the same page. So he got released. Got a huge amount of repaying money back, and then it went stale for very, very long time until I think just a couple of years ago when they got a new chief for the commission that was supposed to do this, to solve this case. All of a sudden, that they find a guy who is no longer among us. He was a loner with no family, no friends, no anything, and they just
See you
labeled
later,
him
Linda.
as the murderer. He was the murderer, and now case solved. We close it. I was just going to
Hey,
ask
James.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Jorgen. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. Hey, James, I'm gonna go back to the chat. Okay,
Okay, sounds good, Kate.
Danny, I'll definitely follow you on Instagram here in a bit. Okay.
Yes. Bye,
All right.
Kate.
Bye.
Kate.
It was so nice to meet you. Hey, Cap, take care of yourself. Jorgen, behave.
I never behave.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, keep him in line, will you?
Jorgen's
will,
a
we
wild
will.
man that can't be
I
tamed.
know. I thought Cap was the wild one, but no, I have to worry about Jorgen.
Oh, when Kate leaves, Danny will be on top of me. So
Oh my god.
See you, Danny.
Behave, Cap, behave.
What I was thinking, what I actually was thinking,
she
is
ends up
you
on top of Jorgen.
Oh, by the way, Danny, Linda's leaving now.
Oh, bye, Linda.
Bye,
What I was
Linda.
thinking, when it comes to the murder of our prime minister, is with all of your knowledge. I think that this is bullshit that they pointed out a guy that all of a sudden, just because they wanted to solve the case, to take a guy that no one can actually check up on, and he has no friends, family left, and he's already dead. Just put label as a murderer. Nobody believes that. With all of your knowledge, can you solve the murder and become point out the real one?
As you were talking about that, I was like, wait a minute. I definitely heard this case on a podcast. So I don't know the ins and out nearly like you do, but that wouldn't be surprising. That happens all the time where it's just easy, the police are under pressure to tell the public we have the right person and solve their case. And sometimes, unfortunately, it gets pinned on the wrong person.
Well, in this case, they didn't have any kind of pressure because it was 1986. Almost everybody has given up and sees it as solved back in 2016, maybe it was. And nobody cared anymore. And still they find, like, we're putting this guy who's no longer among us. We dirt down his name for absolutely nothing. All of us, and there was no pressure. It was too long. Everybody had labeled it as unsolved. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that one. But even here, I've been very open that, and I Albert DeSalvo, who was the person that was labeled to the Boston Strangler, and he's actually buried near me, and I went with two friends to check it out, and I did like a 40-second little video. I don't think it was him. I think I'm not saying I know who it was, but I don't think it was him. Did he commit crimes? Yes, but I don't think he was responsible for all of those deaths. And I think it was convenient because he wanted to be, in my opinion, he wanted to be infamous, and he wanted to brag and take credit for things he didn't do. And people were like, but he knew details about the case, but he also knew false details about the case that were in the same newspapers. So he was saying stuff, but it was all in the stuff that was in the media. So yes, he got some things right, but the things he got wrong was what was reported. So how much did he really know? I don't think it was him.
I was going to say that the guy that I mentioned earlier that was first labeled as the murderer, Christer Pettersson, I don't think it was him either, because he was too like a stand-up comedian said that in the reports that said that the murder moved fast and cool up the stairs after the murder. Christer Pettersson was hardly in the right condition if he was laying on the bench to move that fast. So it's very interesting how they have been solving, how they managed to fuck this up.
Yeah. Ever do an episode on Bob Crane? Somebody else suggested that. I think, is it still unsolved?
Bob Crane's that's the Hogan's Heroes guy.
Yeah. It's still unsolved, but they thought that his friend that was into cameras, they thought he did it. They thought he beat him to death with a tripod.
Yeah, I don't do unsolved cases on my channel. Just I like to it's just my own OCD,
Right.
if you will. I like to pick cases that are solved, so there's like a beginning and an end, and wrap it
I
in a
agree.
pretty bow, and here you go. Here's the case.
To be honest, I don't think
Unsolved
there's a
ones.
few things that are more boring actually to watch a show where the murder is unsolved, and then like, okay, nothing happened. What was the conclusion of this episode? It feels like
Yeah.
you're ripping a last page of a crime novel, and you don't get to know who the murderer is. How fun is that?
Now I have a question for Danny.
Oh God.
Did they put a petition in to stop Leslie Van Houten from getting released? Because the time's just about up for that. They only had 30 days to do it.
They only had 30 days to do it. I honestly am not caught up with that. Yeah, since we kind of narrowed things down on Manson Saga discussion panel over on the podcast, I've just been deep diving into stuff on my channel, so I have not followed up with that yet. And honestly, right now, another reason that I haven't been doing that too is right now there's so much back and forth, with the media of this, on this side, this on this side. I just want to wait until we get the information. You know what I mean? And I haven't heard that any final conclusion yet has been announced. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, that 30 days is about up, so
we should find out soon.
yep. Because I think it was at the beginning of last month that they did that, right?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember. It feels like it was just yesterday, but it's been several weeks, that I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're probably right. It's probably been close to a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piers, it's hard to take you seriously when you have an avatar showing a nipple.
That's his favorite avatar, Danny.
I'm sure it is.
Every time he's on my panel, he always has his picture right there.
There, how about that one?
And you think that is more serious?
Okay.
Is that someone you know?
That's me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's you, Cap?
That is
Wait.
me, yeah. Make it
my
big, you'll
God.
see.
Ah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at
Well,
Jorgen.
this went from
Jorgen's
an
like,
interview to a
hey.
true crime
I
panel.
I honestly think that Peter Griffin was better.
I was going for the Ursula look. What can I say?
Oh God. James, you're losing control.
That's okay. It's Cap. I'm used to him. We love him.
Did we?
This went from an
Did we?
interview to a true crime panel. But you know what? I'm enjoying this. I hope you are too,
I was
Danny.
thinking about this.
Yes.
Now I
There
realize.
we go. There's
Now
the
that's
stud
normal.
that we know and love.
Yeah, now we don't have any nipples, no Ursula thingy happening. Now we got a normal-looking person right here.
I was just thinking that this girl we talked about, I Don't Like Monday by Boomtown Rats before. The girl who did that crime, she has been filing for that she have removed from life sentence to time. That she will have a time. Will she ever get out of prison? Do you think they will allow that?
It's my gut instinct is to say no. But I've been wrong so many times on cases where you look at the facts and it's like this person should not be let out, and then they're let out. And then when you look at someone, you're like, okay, based on their, what they've done and, based on the severity of the crime they committed and what they've done in jail so far, being eligible for parole does seem like a solid shot, and then they're denied. So I've given up on the rhyme or reason. I don't know. I don't know. But do I think she should get out or will get out? Probably not.
What's interesting is that you have so different style. We have a different styles.
All right, Kate.
Sweden and America has so different when it comes to justice. I mean, you can sentence your criminals to about 300 years in prison and stuff like that. will they able to get out in half time after that?
Right.
I mean, lifetime for us could be like okay, 12 to 20 years lifetime. And then they get out. I mean, it's so different how our styles when it comes to
Yeah.
punishment differs.
Yeah. And even some cases where if they're charged for multiple, like let's say they get 20-year sentences, some states or some countries will do it where you have to serve the first 20, then the second 20, then the second 20. Some will just do it all at the same time. And it's like, well, then what's the difference if they're charged with 1 or 3? So it's very, very weird.
It's like if they're going to be sentenced to 300 years, why not say lifetime in that case? Because they won't even get half time without and still be alive. Why not say lifetime?
Right. I think it's so, they're not charged on 300 years for one individual crime. It's like a whole bunch put together. And I think it's the reasoning behind it is so if one of them they're able to win on appeal, then at least they're still in jail on 5 other ones. And you know what I mean? I think that's why it's very strategic why it's done that way. But I hear you hear the sentence and you're like 300 years.
You can get out for this murder, but you must remember you have 4 others you're going to say.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, that's not uncommon for that. But, and even the Canadian, James, where you are, even the Canadian justice system is very different. Being able to kind of speak to Paul, my co-host over on the podcast, I was amazed how lenient your criminal justice system is in comparison to the U.S. So it's just wild.
What did they do away with the death penalty, like death by lethal injection, electric chair, and all that stuff?
It varies state by state. It varies. You want to know something interesting that I actually talked about last night on my live? So Brian Koberger, who is the man that has been arrested and charged with the 4 college students that he allegedly murdered in Idaho. So the prosecutors announced this week that they are seeking the death penalty. And in that state, the death penalty is by, if successful, obviously when you're on death row for decades, that you don't just get sentenced and then executed. And then there's appeal, so it gets dragged out forever. But in that state, the death penalty is by lethal injection or firing squad.
Oh my God.
I didn't think firing squad was still allowed, but in that state it is.
That's what I was thinking. Do they do that still?
Wow.
In that state, it's still an option. I was shocked when I read that.
Our last death sentence in Sweden happened in 1900 in the 1920s. So that's how long we have been without death sentence in Sweden.
Hey, you can go with a bang, pun intended.
Honest to God, Danny, here there were 2 guys that were Lesko and Travaglia, and they went on a thrill for kill speed. They just killed people because it thrilled them. And one died in prison, and this was in 1981. One died in prison a few years ago, and the other one's still on death row. They were sentenced to death, and that was in 1981. So that's like, what, 42 years?
I believe that. That's what I'm saying. Someone's sentenced to death, but it's decades.
When they mean death penalty, they mean that death by natural causes.
Well, to me, if somebody did something like those 2, like there's no doubt they did it, they should be executed in months, not decades.
Yeah. Why did they wait so long?
I'm totally against the death penalty, so I'm not commenting on that. But
No.
I agree that if you're going to have it, it's inhuman to have them wait decades and sitting there and having anguish.
Well, it's not that it's inhuman; it's that taxpayers have to pay that money for 40 years to house them, and that's not right.
But on the flip side, there have been people that have been on death row, and then with the advancements in technology, 20, 30 years later, it's discovered, hey, we had the wrong person. And so they get
Yeah.
to be freed. What if they were executed 30 years ago when they were getting, so.
Naturally, of course.
But with the Brian Koberger thing, when they said death by, by firing squad is an option, I'm like, what? Who would sign up
this
for
is a good
that?
question I have
Myself,
for you.
I'm a fan of an eye for an eye. If somebody stabs somebody, that's how the person that did it should die also.
Wow.
They should feel the same exact pain that they put the person they killed through.
There's a lot of people think that way. And then a lot of people think, I went to go point this way with Jorgen, that is, against there's tons of people on every single side of it, that we could debate this for 20 hours straight and still not come away it's one of those topics.
Okay, I got a good question.
Did I miss something? What's funny?
I have a good question for you, Dani. Okay, say someone is innocent and they were put to death. Would that be considered murder if they find out later that they're actually innocent and they didn't do the crime?
Is that considered murder? I mean, technically,
because they killed an innocent person.
Technically, a jury of their peers would have found them guilty. So, I
wouldn't call it a murder because they were actually sentenced
Convicted.
by the time that the death sentence were
Hello,
were
Lammy.
repealed. So they were actually criminals
Hey,
back
Lam.
then. Then afterwards, if they had, that's another story. But if they have been sentenced to death at that time, they are seen as criminals. So I would assume that it wouldn't be counted as murder in the
yeah.
way.
Jimmy Nickel says it best: miscarriage of justice.
Yeah,
I would be more, instead of focusing on if it was a murder, I would personally like to see the family of the wrongly accused kind of file a lawsuit. That's what I would like to see happen, rather than kind of arguing was it murder.
Honestly, if you go by the book definition of what murder is, when somebody's executed by lethal injection, it's murder anyway. It's human killing another human. So
it's just not seen that way. But
right. Right.
Yeah, posthumous pardon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Lamb.
So now you get to be in the presence of the famous Lamb, Dani. How do you feel?
I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I'm not worthy. So wait, who is Lamb?
He's the
Vinyl
one I
record
interviewed.
person, I'm assuming.
He's the one I interviewed that you watched.
Oh my God, yes. Shit. Oh, that's the one with the story.
Yep.
Oh my God, I didn't connect the two until now.
Long live memory.
Oh my God. It took me a second. All right, yes, because I wasn't able to catch the interview live, and I messaged you and you said, "Oh, wait till you get to the story." Yeah, okay.
With the barb roll, yeah. And he's the one I told you about that does the duck race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lamb is oh my, everybody's loving Lamb. James, you are interviewing some great people here.
I know. I'm waiting to the Lamb suggested that I interview this other girl. She just turned 19 today. Her name is Elsie Miles. She's also a musician, and her dad Terry Miles. So they're next on my list to interview at some point.
Nice. Look at I'm kind of a big deal. You know what? I like your style because I am a big deal too.
Yep, Dani's into true crime, Lammy. She's an interesting person, and well, the interview was technically over, but then it turned into a true crime panel, which I don't mind. And it's nice to hang out with my friends and just hang out and talk a little bit after. This is kind of like the after party, but live. It would have been backstage in the private chat, but this is kind of the after party, but live for everybody. So,
Well,
Landy, I
yeah.
heard you had a cold or something yesterday because I caught the end of Reese Potter's uh, stream yesterday, and you said you caught a cold from your daughter or something. Because if you were feeling okay right now, I put the link out for if you want to come up and join the panel.
Danny,
I
I
won't.
sent you
I
a.
wasn't here earlier. I'm absolutely full of the flu right now. Oh my god.
Oh gosh, sorry to hear that,
Oh, I
Liam.
hope you feel better soon, my man.
Hope you feel
Get well,
better.
Lamby. Get well.
Yeah.
Oh, feel better soon. That's horrible.
Yeah,
Was that you, Beers, that just messaged me?
yeah. I sent you a link to the case I was talking about.
Oh, okay, I'll check it out later. I thought I put my phone on
And
silent.
in 2022, they rejected another appeal, and that guy's been there since 1981.
Jeez. Scott Dog, what you just said is spot on. James' interviews keep improving each time. He's killing it. Congrats, man.
I almost struggled with some questions because I didn't want to jump into everything because I wanted to keep this thing moving, but to keep the pace going. But it was hard to think, where do I go? What do I do? But I handled it. I handled myself really well, and I got all the questions in that I needed to ask, and we're and then it turned to a little panel, and I don't mind this.
Yeah, I mean, James, we've known each other for according to Facebook, 2 years today.
So it's kind of a celebration at the same time with the panel. We're celebrating our 2-year anniversary of being best
and
friends.
so there's so much. The good thing with like us knowing each other too, and there's more than you're multifaceted. There's more to you than just record collecting. There's more to me than just true crime. So you know that about me. I know that about you. So it's easy to keep the conversation going in so many different directions because
yeah,
exactly.
And remember when you used to text me from work and you say, "James the Wicked Witch is here."
Oh,
remember
God.
that?
Like a nightmare that you just brought back up.
And
there's always that one person at your office that just makes life miserable for everybody.
You know what I do, Jorgen? I type to her, "Ding dong, the witch is dead."
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Then I say, "Have a bucket of water ready. Maybe she'll melt."
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get obvious who I'm referring to. But then said person left, and then every once in a while would come back, and I go, "James, they're back."
The things Dani and I get into, it's crazy, but we have a good friendship and we enjoy each other's company every day. If I'm down, I tell her I'm down, and Dani's always there for me. Well, all of you are, I know that, but Dani's been a good supportive person of me.
I was thinking about another thing when it comes to Sweden versus USA when it comes to penalty. In Sweden, we have there's some cases where people are definitely are mentally unstable and have done it under influence, but they are sentenced to psychiatric health care, and then only after 1 or 2 years they are considered well and get out in society. Is that also happening in the USA where they actually and after 2 years of psychiatric care they get released, or do they be sent to a prison when they are have been having their treatment finished? How does that happen in the USA when they are being taken to a mental institution for the crimes?
It depends on their sentencing. Some of the sentencing, if it will be to go to a facility to get the care they need, then once they're considered to have gotten that, then they go into general population prison. Some then just get released. So it really depends. It really depends on what the sentence was.
It's pretty much like here then.
Yeah, like as Mimi said, depends on what is the rest of the info. Yeah, so it's not just there's no straight answer, but it's frustrating because at the end of the day, a horrific crime was still committed.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, I have mixed feelings on that one.
Because that is really when you see someone who's done a real mass murder or horrific crime, and then they get in for a mental institution, that they get their treatment for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they're free. Okay, I get it. They were sick when they did it, but still it's a crime.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, your mom has weighed in.
What? Jimmy Nickel, please excuse my son, the lamb. He has had a bad flu, nanny. Oh, my mom's pretending to be the lamb's nanny or his grandma. Good one, Mom. I like that.
It took me a sec. I'm like, wait, I don't understand. Okay, now I got it.
That's a
My
little
mom is
freaky.
also called-
Ooh, really,
Yeah,
random.
that is a good point, Manny. But still, they can have been mentally they get in mentally institutes for a longer time than just 1 or 2 years.
Ah.
Yeah, so Mimi, Auntie Mimi says, I have a friend who works at a mental facility that the prisoners there are too dangerous for regular prison. Yeah.
Hey, Scottish Ray, welcome back.
Yeah, I
So
get why they are
Mimi-
sentenced to mental institution. I get why they do that. Of
Yeah.
course.
Danny, I told you I'm going to be a grandpa, right?
Yes,
November.
you did.
Wow.
Yeah. Did I tell you what?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Did I tell you what my daughter's her gynecologist name is?
Oh, dear God, what?
Dr. Fish.
Fish.
Oh my God.
When I saw that, I fell off of the damn chair laughing.
And he's
You
hanging.
just-
Did he hang in Marillion also?
James is trying to do a wholesome show here, and you take it that way.
Well, you have to admit that's a funny name for a gynecologist.
Yes, but consider the context of where you are.
James is used to me.
Oh, God.
I'm used to Cap. It's all right, Danny. I'm used to his sense of humor. It's like, it's all right. But if I come to visit you one day, Danny, which I hope to do, I want to go visit your Aunt Mimi.
Your Aunt Mimi to everybody. It's like this.
Yeah, I
joke that-
claimed her as my Aunt Mimi too.
Beers is Aunt Mimi. She takes everybody under her wing. She's amazing.
And I definitely want to go visit Audrey.
You would have a lot of places in Massachusetts to see.
And I want to go see John Bipoploon. We have to go visit him.
He lives near me.
And because you know me, I want to see his record collection.
I've never met up with him in person or anything, but I know he lives near me, which is just such a small world.
Yeah. Remember, guys, I fish. What are you talking about, Scottish Ray? Have you had a few Coors today? I can tell if you have. I like what the lamb says. Growing up, my dentist was called Dr. Pullum.
And then Mimi says a dentist here is called Dr. Fang. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
See what I got started?
Beers,
Yeah.
you're impeccable for creating situations like this.
Yes, I am.
You know, Cap, you're
Me,
fired.
so-
But it takes away from the real point of congratulations, Beers, that you're going to be a grandfather.
I'm happy about it. I am. I'm happy.
You sound really happy. I'm happy about it.
No,
I am
no,
happy about
Scottish
it.
Ray, she's
Yeah, I
not
understand
single. She's married. She's taken. She's spoken for. I think Scottish Ray has a little crush on you.
Oh, jeez.
Your Aunt Mimi said her gynecologist's name is Dr.
No,
Clapp.
it says cardiologist.
Dr. Clapp. Now I've heard it all.
Yeah, leave it.
I
You know
like
what?
how you corrected me, Danny. You're like, no, it says cardiologist.
God. You know what, Mimi? Mimi, I thought you were here to be supportive, not go along with Beers' wild antics.
I love her sense of humor. This is great.
I've heard of this actor that
Thank
I've
you,
heard
Lamb.
once. It's an actor once who said in TV that his brother was a doctor, and his last name was Dolk, like knife. The Dolk that you use with not a knife.
I believe it, Aunt Mimi. I believe it.
Dr. Knife.
Well, and then there's the rock star Dr. Hook.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
What? I bet she likes a kilt, James. I don't know.
You know you miss my antics, Danny.
Beers, never a day goes by when I don't think of your antics. And then I'm in one right now and I'm like, oh God, get me out.
Right?
What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, it's one of those like, oh man, I miss Beers. How's he doing? And then when you're there, you're like, oh, I remember why.
Well, everyone, we've hit the 2-hour mark. It was a very great interview, and it turned into a nice panel as well. I really want to have some friends up to celebrate our 2-year anniversary of being friends. And here's the real Aunt Mimi. So Mimi, you got a little competition here, but a different spelling. So this real Aunt Mimi here, she is the aunt of John Lennon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Aunt Mimi the Lamb is here too.
But didn't John Lennon's Aunt Mimi die a long time ago?
Well, we like to believe that she's alive.
In here, in the chat.
You know how Brits are. They can live to be 200.
Oh, here's a good
Right.
one. Your Aunt Mimi's on a roll, Danny. Look at
God. Know a guy who's okay. I'm not reading this.
Scheme and swallow.
Oh my God. It's all getting confusing, yeah.
So there's
Wow.
there's Mimi Watson here, the real Aunt Mimi, and then there's the other Mimi, another different spelling.
And that is me.
Oh Jesus, Jordan.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Lamb, I emailed you my address the same day after the interview, and my sister thanks you so much. She's excited to get the T-shirt, and I'm excited to have a Lamb mug. And we'll take pictures of us with our merchandise and stuff.
So Lamb has merchandise. Wow.
Yeah, you should come to his Friday stream.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Monday stream. Sorry, yeah. And you can enter the duck race, Danny. And if you win, you win a mug. And he's got something else that Mrs. Ray Paul invented. It's called sex butter. I'm not kidding.
Oh, well.
And Lamb has a actual container, and he actually created the sex butter. And then he does a porno song like Barry White, and he plays his guitar and he talks about sex butter.
Jorgen, you look so mortified.
Jorgen's been there when he's done the song. You know that, Jorgen. I'm not kidding.
Oh my God, I'm so intrigued.
Let's just say that this stream has sunken all-time low when it comes to PG ratings.
It's all in incredibly good taste. The Lamb has a good show. He's got a good sense of humor, and he's just amazing. You'll love him. And
All right, Lamb, you got me convinced. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, and she'll sign up and subscribe to you and everything, all that jazz, and you're gonna love it, Danny. It's fun. We have a good time there. And Cap, you should come too.
I'm looking for the
amazing
channel now.
guitarist.
He was there this Monday, wasn't he?
He was there Monday, but Friday he wasn't there because he had the flu. He was sick yesterday.
No, but Cap, I think I saw his name in the chat this Monday.
What's John Lennon doing now? Decompose.
It wasn't me because I'm not subscribed to him. I am
I'm
now.
calling away at reaching 1,000. I don't expect people to show up all the time, but the subs really help.
I just subscribed to Lamb.
Yep, me too.
There you go. You got more subs.
Awesome.
So
No, absolutely, Lamb.
so
You're
how
spot
fast will
on.
you get the money? How much will you get the money that that I bribed you for subscribing to?
And the first day, I invited the real Aunt Mimi to the Lamb's show. She won the duck race.
Nice.
Yeah, she was so excited she won the duck race. She was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!"
Cool. I
Well,
look forward
guys,
to
we've been
checking it
going for
out.
2 hours and 5 minutes. So thank you, Dani, for doing this interview with me. And we'll have to do some more collabs.
Thank you, Lam.
Yes. Thank
If
you
we
for
can't think
having
of
me,
any
James.
Christmas things, we'll have to try maybe our top 10 favorite movies or something.
Yeah, we'll definitely do something for the
Because
holidays.
I'll do that with you. It's fun when we do that. So I want to thank Cap. I want to thank Jorgen. I want to thank Kate and the Lamb and everybody else in my panel for being here today, and Dave and Jen for always supporting me. And we'll be back tomorrow for for the regular stream with our Indiana Jones theme tomorrow, where I'm going to wear my Indiana Jones hat. But that'll be a surprise for tomorrow, so you have to wait till tomorrow to see the hat on me. But I won't be wearing my headphones for a while because if I have the hat on, I don't want to crush it. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. It was fun. It was a fun interview. And Dave, get your butt up here. Dave, get up here. Oh, he's got an Indiana Jones hat too.
I was just getting ready for the theme for tomorrow. Sorry.
Oh, cool.
It's a great interview. It's good seeing everybody here, and thanks for coming on, Dani, and telling us all the interesting things about true crime, and as well as your work with all the animals and all that cool stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, James, for having me.
Yeah. So, Dave, before we sign off, do you have a question you want to ask Dani?
I was asking questions earlier in the thing.
Yep.
Show us your whip. I don't have a whip.
I wish I
did.
Either.
I think he was talking to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
last time I went to grab a whip, it ended up being a snake, and you know how we feel about snakes.
snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
There you go.
There's a Chuck. There's a snake.
Yeah,
in
but
the
see, I
food,
want to
Chuck.
know what Dani
Oh,
said
that's
that.
just my pet snake, Reggie. I hate snakes, Chuck.
Yep.
I hate them.
Dani said that he was talking to me. I'm wondering what Dani's doing with her whip.
Oh, hey now.
All right.
That's for my Patreon subscriptions. That's the Patreon.
You know I love you, Dani. I just like teasing you a little.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I
thank you
forgot
for
about-
being here, everyone, today. And Aunt Mimi, I love you all. Get better, Lammy, and you're welcome to be here tomorrow for the stream to join us in the Indiana Jones fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny soon in the theater. So thank you, everyone. And as I say in my channel, Beatles forever. See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
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 And
Love
let's
y'all.
podcast, and we're all out.
That's it.